This is the regular joint meeting between the Minnehaha County and the Sioux Falls Planning Commission, and we'll begin with a few introductory comments. As a courtesy, make sure everyone make sure your cell phones are turned off. The two planning commissions work together on land use and zoning matters within the rural areas surrounding the city. This area is displayed on the screen. After information and testimony is presented on the agenda item, the members will discuss the matter, and then each planning commission will vote independently to arrive at a decision. When the joint agenda is completed, the City Planning Commission will adjourn, and the meeting will continue with hopefully the Del Rapids Planning Commission. And then also after that, we'll have the County Planning Commission, which considers items beyond the joint zoning jurisdiction. Any final action on the conditional use permit request will take effect 5 working days following this meeting, unless a written appeal of tonight's decision is filed in the County Planning Office by Monday, July 31st, 2017 at 5 p.m. In the event of an appeal, the decision will be referred to the Joint County Commission and City Council for a hearing on Tuesday, August 22nd, 2017 at 5 p.m. And this meeting is held in the Carnegie Town Hall at 235 West 10th Street. Action taken on the rezoning request will be referred to the City Council and County Commissions in a public hearing on Tuesday, August 22nd at 5 p.m. Oh, I guess that's on there twice. Excuse me. At this time, the Planning Commission will consider the consent agenda. The minutes of the June 24th meeting are included on the consent agenda. Are there any objections from the Planning Commission members on any item listed on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I will read the consent agenda. Should anyone in the audience wish to object to that item, please raise your hand, and the item will be moved to the regular agenda. So we have approval item number 1 is the approval of the minutes from the June 26, 2017 meeting. Item number 2 is a conditional use permit 1748 to allow a permanent water tower on property legally described. Basically, it's the City of Brandon. The owner is the Northern States Power Company. It's approximately 1 mile east of Sioux Falls. Anyone in the audience object to this matter? Seeing none, that is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion for action?
Move approval.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second.
Second.
All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approved on the county side.
On the city side, I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, same sign. Passes on the city side.
All right, thank you. Okay, so that item the only item on there was the Brandon Water Tower, and that has been approved. So we'll move to the regular agenda. Scott Anderson, are you presenting this?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Item number 3 is a public hearing on our rezoning request 1704. This is to rezone approximately 7 acres from A1 agriculture to C commercial. The petitioner is Grace Baptist Church, Mark Renner as the representative. This is for a 7-acre parcel of property that's located between Sioux Falls and Renner on South Dakota Highway 115. This is the approximate location. Directly here to the south, right here, is the Northern Links Golf Course, and this is part of the golf course area here. So the applicant, there is an existing church, and the applicant is the church. They are requesting to rezone their property from A1, which is agriculture, to C commercial. Their stated purpose for doing this, or requesting the rezoning, is to allow a larger sign. And I have indicated that right now they are limited to 16 square feet for their signage, and by rezoning this, it would allow them to move up to a 200 square foot sign, as well as a wall sign on the property. It should also be noted that if it was zoned to C commercial, it would also allow for potential billboards. You can see that on the site plan or on the map, the aerial photography, that there is area where they could potentially sell off a 1-acre lot and sell it to a commercial developer. The parking lot is completely paved, very nicely paved access that goes on to South Dakota Highway 115. This was reviewed by the city, and it falls outside of their 2040 growth area. And so they had no action or no comment on the request. We reviewed it internally and felt that it does meet the overall intent of the zoning ordinance. It is within a half a mile of Renner, the Renner corner. It is along a paved highway. A church is a permissive or permitted use within both zoning districts, so we don't have any issues with non-conforming uses. Staff is recommending approval of the request to rezone this from A1 agriculture to C commercial. And I have a couple pictures, and then once again, this is a public hearing, so we'll need to open it up to public to make any comment. So this is the church. This is on the other side of South Dakota Highway 115, and you can see their nicely paved parking lot. This is the sign in question that they already have on the property. This is looking south towards the golf course. This is looking across the street, across the highway. And right now there's just agricultural field there. And this is looking north towards Renner. And the Jensen Electric is located at that corner. So we have seen some development along Renner, closer to Sioux Falls. And I'll take it back to the site plan. And I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, questions for Scott? You know, I haven't commented. Are those old housing lots plotted across the road from?
They're
back in the
existing
50s,
lots that were platted
Years ago?
many years ago, but they do show up as legal lots with eligibilities.
Sure. Okay. Okay, thank you, Scott. We'll call for, is the representative here, please? Yes, just come forward, state your name and address, please.
Mark Renner, and my address is Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 1702 East 84th Street North.
Okay, do you have any questions of the planning staff, or does anyone have any questions of Mr. Renner? Yes.
Mr. Renner, so is the church planning on selling off this land once it's rezoned?
No, not at this point. We're planning to keep it all as one unit. And
What about the issue of billboards? You're the only church between Sioux Falls and Del Rapids on the east side of the road.
we had no discussion about a billboard. I was kind of intrigued that it was even mentioned, but we would like to have a larger sign for the access since we have a lot of traffic going by there.
I got one question for you, Mark. How many years have you been in the church now out there?
We moved into the building in May of 2012, so a little
Okay,
over 5 years.
2012. Do you envision in, say, another 15, 20 years that the church is gonna need to be added on to?
It's a consideration right now, as we've been growing the last few years. It isn't really imminent. I don't anticipate it in probably the next 10 years, but 25 years perhaps.
Okay.
Any other questions of Mr. Renner? If not, thank you.
Thank
Anyone else in the audience care to address this matter? Let's come forward and state your name and address, please.
Tony Lee, 47563 255th Street. My concern is that I've been before this board several times asking about commercial real estate, and I was told it had to be at the intersections or adjoining to other commercial properties, okay? And my question would be, would it not be more adequate or appropriate that there can given a conditional use for signage versus rezoning it as commercial?
Okay, that's a good question. Scott? you
Answer
care-
that?
Yes, please address that, Scott.
That would be a granting a use through a conditional use permit, and those are have been defined by the Supreme Court as unconstitutional. So that's it's basically a variance for a signage, and we don't give out conditional use permits to exceed a specific standard, that would be a variance. Just like there's a certain setback, there's a certain size requirement, and when you vary a specific criteria within the zoning ordinance, that's by definition a variance, not a conditional use. So,
Okay.
they'd have to apply for a variance.
Does that answer your question, sir?
It does, and wouldn't that be a better fit?
No, it's unconstitutional.
Okay. All right, anyone else in the audience care to address this? If not, we'll look to the commission's action or discussion.
Well, Mr. Chairman, it doesn't seem like there's any reason to object to this, so I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries on the county side.
On the city side,
I agree with Commissioner Barth, and I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. Passes on the city side.
Okay, that should conclude our meeting with the city.
Need a motion for adjournment?
Adjourn the joint meeting with the city.
Motion and a second to adjourn on the
On
county
the city,
side.
all in favor signify by saying
By
yes.
saying aye.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. We are adjourned. Is Del Rapids present?
No, they're not here yet.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, we can hold on to this until the end of our meeting.